I'm gonna talk about why I'm single, because I'm crazy. A lot of men will be like, why are you single? Like, you're so beautiful. Why don't you have a man? Throughout my dating history, I've learned to value myself much more than anything, especially nowadays. As I'm getting older, I'm learning not to settle. I'm learning not to be what a pygmisha. Like, it's that. And I'll explain more, my mindset of a relationship and what I seek in a relationship and what my foundation, my expectations and standards have always been, and where I fell short. You seek that validation, you seek that codependency, someone wants to be there for you, and you're like, well, I know you're not the one, but you want to be here, you're accessible, and you're familiar. Trust me, I've been through it all. Let's start with my journey of dating. I started dating or getting interested into men around like age 17, going on 18, really. So like junior year, that's when I started, putting myself out there. I was feeling myself. I looked good. I felt good. It was always very beautiful. Because of the schools that I went to, I didn't really have the opportunity to explore. So the selections were very limited. Let's start with that. Maybe one or two people I was like, yeah, I can get behind them. And then I was like, nah, I don't want to get behind them. Let's not do that. I always knew that I was more so attracted to older men, and that comes into play as well too. From there, I started dating, started exploring, talking. Other things led to other things. There was this one individual who, so how we all have a person? He was my person. This is like early stages of dating. And I was green and new to the scene. I didn't know no better. I didn't have no game. I didn't know. I thought I knew what I knew, I didn't know. So naive and gullible and just misguided and misled. It was a whole thing. I found myself like begging, and I found myself being like, why won't you choose me? Why? Pick me. Love me. I'll never, I'll, I will scrape my ass on asphalt before I ever beg a man to pick me ever again. I didn't know no better at the time. I was going into senior year, I think. Yeah, I think it was in senior year with him. And he was like freshman in college, I think. Doing his thing, doing what he's supposed to do as a young person. But I was like, but I really like you. And I like you a lot. And I want to give my attention to you. And this is when I found out that I tend to put my eggs in one basket, and I'll be ready to just give you the world. It's like, how much does planet Earth cost? I'm going to buy you the entire planet. That's how I am. It's really disgusting on in the way of how intense and deep that I could give my all to a person. I learned that that was a weakness of mine. It's a strength and a weakness. And of course, as I got older, I'm learning, and I've learned ways to balance that. Nothing wrong with, wanting to pour into someone, but to not deplete yourself in that process of pouring into them and giving them this love. I learned to identify a lot of game. I learned to identify a lot of traits. I knew what my standard was. I've always known what my standard was, well, no, let me backtrack. When I was young, just growing up and seeing what I saw, some of the examples in my life were that the man and the woman help each other, and it's 50-50. And, If it's not 50-50, then the woman does everything and the man kicks his feet up and he just makes the money and pays for everything and the woman does everything. Or, you know, it's okay to help. You know, it's okay to, as a woman, to be in your masculine energy. So the energy is like to be a leader in the relationship as a woman as well too. And now that I reflect on that mindset and like I've experienced what it was like to lead with that mindset and those expectations, I'm here to tell you that is complete and utter bull. Okay? I will not lead the relationship. I will fully let that man be a man. I will not be doing 50-50. I will not be in my masculine energy. I will not be doing these things. I think a lot of people, again, grew up with the same thing that I grew up with. And so when I'm saying these things or they see people say these things, they think it's impossible, that it's not attainable. And it is. And what I've done to like redirect myself is to follow women who live that life. Not try to replicate it, but take bits and pieces here and there and how they live. I don't agree with everything that they say and do, but I'm like, this could work for me. Well, I identify with that. That makes sense to me. Oh yeah, that seems nice. They seem full of joy. A lot of them are like, well, actually, I'm not necessarily a stay-at-home mom because I'm learning the difference between the stay-at-home mom and a kept woman. And I'm like, but I don't want to be a mama. So where do we go from there? I'm not stay-at-home mom material. I am being a kept woman material. It's where I am headed to, being a kept woman. Being a woman of value, yes, but letting my man take care of me. And it's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've done the 50-50. I've done the take care of a man. I've done the ride or die. You know, I baby, I done rode and I done died, rode and died, rode and died 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 again. I'm good. I don't want to keep dying. Again, I like to talk to older men, and I've given young men chances as well too. Just use your discernment. That's all I gotta say with that one. If you're curious if it's better to be with the older men or the young men, just use your discernment. That's all I have to say with that one. I'm loving the rebellion against what do you bring to the table. What the fuck do I say to that? Like, why would a man want to know what am I bringing to the table? What could I possibly bring for you that would bring you fulfillment as a man? Nothing. I'm gonna bring another man. Like, I am a great woman. I'm gonna come as a whole woman. I'll bring myself. I'm more than enough. What the fuck do I need to bring the fork, the plate, the napkin, and the cups for? Most of the time, y'all don't even bring that shit. Y'all just bring the damn table. And y'all forget the chairs. Because you left them at home. I'm not here to degrade or emasculate anyone. I'm not bringing anything to the table. As a man, you shouldn't want a woman to bring anything to the table. Don't ever be with a man that expects anything from a woman. Let me just tell you that. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the truth. Don't be with a man who expects something from a woman. I remember this time, like once upon a time, this man couldn't even buy me a bag of cherries from Publix. And he was like, oh yeah, I got you. No worries. And we get to the cash register and card decline. Same man who we went out to a restaurant. This is my first time ever paying for a man. I learned from my lessons. And people be like, oh my God, you're such a bitch. Like, why are you so bougie and so stuck up and Hasidity and blah, 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 all these things? Because I've been through it. I've been through it. And I'm not going through it again. Because I already did the lowest I can go. You know? So, another man where I paid for dinner. Why are we going to dinner? You're taking me out on a date and I'm paying. And that should have been my sign right there to turn my ass around and go home and leave this man alone. But I didn't. I was like, oh, but you know, I get it. Things happen. I was being so understanding and compromising my morals. And mind you, I had never done that before. I have never seen a woman in my family do that for a man. But I did it because I was like, I get it. Things happen. You know, just being understanding. It didn't feel right at all. I even stood for a moment, was just like, what am I doing paying for this man? Why am I with a man who can't do anything for me? What is the point of having you around? If I'm gonna do bad, I'm gonna do bad by my fucking self. I'm not gonna do bad with a man. That is crazy to me. I keep telling you, like, this is not my first rodeo. I've been through the fire. I can identify things for what they are. And when I call you out on it, I don't need you to be defensive about it. I need you to be a man, to be a proper adult and hold yourself accountable and just be like, yeah, I love us. I was trying to be on that bullshit. It's bullshit. Men be like, why is your guard so high up? Because I sensed your bullshit when you walked through the door. And I wanted to know how long you were going to try to bullshit me before I called you out on it. And now you're upset with me because I called you out on your bullshit. And that's a personal problem. You're a bullshitter. I know a bullshitter when I see one, because I'll be bullshitting too. I'm like, no, I want a provider man. I want a man who is able to take care of his shit, of my shit, and then some. So these expectations and standards that I have, it isn't because I just pulled them out of my ass. It's because I've did the opposite of them, and it hasn't gotten me the best of results, and it hasn't gotten me farther in any capacity. I haven't won with anything. If anything, I got pushed back and had to pick myself up and dust myself the fuck off and keep it the fuck moving and just take that L and move the fuck on. I'm not going to teach a man how to be a man. I'm not going to raise a man. I'm not going to tell a man, teach a man how to lead. I'm not doing that. That's something your father should have taught you. An uncle, a grandfather, somebody, a mentor, coach, somebody. I don't know. Let's be real. Most men want to be provider men. Most men, if they were in a position to take care of themselves and their families, their wives, children, whatever, with no hesitation, there would be no debate or argument about whether a man should take on everything, whether there should be 50-50, whether there should be, it just, that conversation would be nulled, because you have the necessities and the tools and the resources that you need to be able to take care of your family and be the provider that you are naturally. There would be no 50-50 conversation. I respect the men who have the admiration for me. And then they just back away because you're like, I'm gonna keep it where it is. I'm gonna let you know that I see you, I admire you, but I'm not in a position to provide you what it is that you are seeking. I would love to. If I could, I would, but I cannot. And of course, I'd be like, damn, just, you ain't gonna try. You ain't gonna do a little work, do a little extra, a little something to get you going. Because it's the ones that try to pursue it and they cannot maintain it, and it gets good, right? But it's not consistent. And that builds resentment, because I see your efforts, but that gets exhausting. That gets tiring, because it's just like, okay, you brought me up so high just to bring me down so low because I expected this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this all the time. And you can't maintain it. And it's only occasionally when you do. And it's almost like dangling a piece of cheese in front of a rat, almost, in a sense, right? And it's like, almost, oh, you gotta nibble, oh. And you can't keep up with that. That pisses me off more. I'd rather you just leave me alone and just have your admiration from a distance, but try to maintain something that you can't, that is just not in your willpower to. That pisses me off. It really does, because I'm just like, it's not consistent. And now I just want you to leave me alone, because you're gonna waste my time again. Because when I'm expecting the same energy and you're not able to provide it, I'm looking at you crazy. I'm giving you a bombastic side eye. So, like I said, I've been the pick Misha. I've been the 50-50, the ride or die, that I'll pay for everything, that I'll take care of you till you come up. I'd rather put a if I ever did that shit again. There are women all over the world who are getting exactly what it is that they're seeking and they want. And they stand 10 toes down in what they believe in, their expectations and their standard. And they don't have to wave their finger and say this and that and that. There is no playing games. Leave me the fuck alone. Cause I didn't sin for you. You hopped your happy ass in my life. And now you're offended because these are my expectations and what I said, this is what I want. And you're saying, well, why do I as a man? Because you're a man. And I am the woman. And all I really ask for you to do is go out and work, make the money, and take care of home. Because at the end of the day, like say for instance, you are a builder person, you like, let's go 50-50, y'all don't build together, and then he decides to leave you. Now you don't build a man for somebody else, you don't build a man for the next, because that next person that he's with, if he decides to leave you, she won't have to do a thing. I can guarantee you he will become the man that you have always wanted him to be with the next woman. And now you have so much resentment towards him because you're like, well, that was the treatment that I wanted. And now you're over here thinking, was I not good enough to receive that? Like, that could have been me, but did you feel like I wasn't worthy of that? I refuse to have a man ever making me second guess my worthiness. Because he will treat her exactly how you wanted to be treated. And you done built and worked and stood down and cried and died and cried and took all the lives and paid, slaved, paved the way for a new. You did all the hard work, baby. And now she kicking her feet up in a fly shit on vacations every other week or weekend or month in that car that you wanted with your dream bag and your dream man. He making all the money now and tricking on her. And now you there stuck, looking crazy. Won't be me. That's why I'm single. Because I just refuse to settle. I learned through my experiences and my journey with men to not settle, to not just accept anything, to stand 10 toes down in your standards and your expectations and your morals, and you don't have to be all this and that and this and that and this and that, and to be around high quality men and not these brain who just are insecure and is struggling and they're broke and they want to cause an argument because they're not really fully content with themselves because they're not in the position that they want to be in. And they're taking it out on you because you're like, well, I deserve. And they're like, well, I deserve too. And it's like, well, get it for you. No one's stopping you. And you're like, but I am. And then you go find the better man to be with the better man. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go be with the better man. I'm going to go be with the man who could do for him, for me, for us. And then some. Because that's what I deserve. And that's what I'm going to get. And I haven't come across a man like that just yet necessarily. It's always been like an almost situation or halfway there situation. And I'm not looking for an almost. Almost doesn't count. And halfway damn sure don't come close. So that's why I'm fly, young, hot, and single. Because I'm not settling. And you shouldn't settle either. Because it's never that deep. Truly, I think it's just like that intimacy that people crave. They want someone to hold them and like share their secrets with, blah 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 blah. Invest in the toy, babe, and get you some pillows, a bunch of pillows on the bed. I don't know what to tell you. Wrap yourself up in a blanket. I don't know. But don't settle just because of loneliness and desperation and codependency and insecurity and the mindset of lack and uncertainty. Like, just the person that you are, there is someone for everyone, and the person that you desire to have and that you dream about and you think about and that you make a list about and that you pray to God about, if you pray to God about it, or that you envision, they exist. There's billions of people in this world. Your person may not be in the United States. Your person may be in a whole nother country, continent, island somewhere. But don't just settle just for the fuck of it, because then you're not going to be satisfied. Then you're really going to grow resentment. And that's how divorce rates come about. Because you're just settled and you just married because they kind of treat you well. They're kind of the thing that you're looking for. I'm like, no. I'm not going to sit here and say that the person that you seek is going to be everything you're looking for, because if you get everything you're looking for, it's almost too good to be true and you're going to sabotage it. There are going to be things that you have to work on with this person that you think about, dream about, you know, whatever that you envision. But most of the time, they are going to be worth the wait, because they're exactly what you need, and they're going to know how to handle you exactly the way you need to be handled. And it won't feel like hard work, you know? It'll be work, but it won't be hard. No relationship needs to be hard and in any way. So that's how I look at it. I'm going to stick with that, and I'll be patient and wait for Mr. Right when it's time for him to present himself, whoever he is, because I don't know yet. That's why I'm single. Bye.